What's going on, guys? How we doing out there? TGIF. Welcome to yet another Friday. Another Friday, we made it. How you guys doing? Doing all right here. Nothing too exciting. I got my Switch dev kit ordered, so that's gonna be awesome. Looking forward to putting the triples on Switch. Still trying to get my issues resolved with Microsoft. I got my dev kits. I got a game on there running nicely, and I can't submit it because my account is kind of foobarred on my dashboard, but still trying to get that worked out. Hopefully soon, because, you know, they got some... I would love to get that demo running on there, but, you know, when you go through a bunch of red tape, you do what you gotta do. So, but yeah, everything pretty good. If you guys remember when we left off Monday, I was doing some animation work for the ape. Not going to do any more because I'm pretty much happy with this. If you remember, I was working on the beating the chest kind of stuff. Wasn't really happy with it. Kept tweaking after I signed off, and I'm pretty content now. So now that looks more like he's beating his chest, right? So I was pretty content with that. I got it dropped into the game, and yeah, I like what it's doing. So let's take a look here. It happens 50-50 right now between the look versus the beat the chest. So we'll see if he does it here. Nope, not yet. There he goes. So yeah, I think that's kind of cute, kind of funny. So yeah, sometimes he'll do the slam his fist down, and sometimes he does the beat the chest. It's 50-50. It just splits between the two of them. But yep. Just helps break it out and break it up, so it's not that same animation every time. I may come back and add some more just to, you know, give it some more life beyond that, but right now I think I'm pretty content with just those two, so I can think about that later. But anyway, there you go. Pretty happy with how that turned out. So I guess what I'm saying is not working on the animation for the ape today. So today, you ever had that thing where you get like a spare room or a closet that's just full of crap that you know you need to deal with and you don't want to, but at a certain point you realize, okay, you know, you just got to do it, right? In this case, my closet full of crap is the canyon levels, and I finally decided that it's time to open up that closet, start cleaning it out and getting it updated correctly. And yeah, like I feared, it's a bit of a mess. So the key thing was, because that was when I did the original underground layer, right? I was doing the concept of it had to be 2 tiles thick, and once I started going beyond that, I decided it would work better if I could just do 1 tile thick, like you see here. And I started incorporating that with the canyon first. And the canyon still has lava, right? And that's where it gets complicated, because then you have a whole set of the lava sometimes needing to be either something below it or sometimes by itself. And so now I'm back trying to deal with all that. So here, let's switch this over. Let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Let's switch this over to Canyon. Illustrate what I'm talking about a little bit. So what's going on with you guys out there? What's new? Tell me if anything interesting planned for the weekend. I have a fantastically planned weekend of work and mowing the lawn, and then work. Yeah. All right, so let's come back into Canyon. I think it was 2cc that I've been messing with specifically. That's sort of my test case. So I'll switch that, and let's bail out of this bad boy after it finishes. There you go. All right, and let's switch over. That's jungle, so let's switch back over into Canyon. Save. I don't think I changed anything, but okay. All right. Yeah, so we'll take a quick look here. So this has already improved quite a bit, but there's still issues. I'll come back to that. So what I'm also doing is I'm sort of going to go with that same concept of what I did with the underground, right? Which is darken it and then have those highlighted sections, right, where the lava, which is still obviously still rising, right, illuminating the underside. So now what we're seeing is sort of a mix and match kind of look. So like this, you know, start level I haven't touched, so as a result that's got like the lighter version, And then here you can see this when I darkened it, but you can see these sections where it's lighter, and that's the lava, right? Which I'm going to work on that, because the trick I did was I have a background version and then I have a foreground version of the sort of like just a cutout version that overlays on top of it. That's what I came up with for the underground. It works really well, and the nice thing about it is it allows me to do the dripping, and the dripping falls underneath, right? So it's a pretty good setup. So we're going to follow suit with that, you know. But you can see now I already have this, and it's probably, yes, okay. There's no colliders because I cleaned out the levels, the foreground levels. Obviously, you can see that there's, you know, no dark in here. So what I'm gonna have to do is finish making the holdout version for the foreground tiles, and then go back and start cleaning up all the colliders, right? Because that's definitely one of the issues here. Not quite my gems. What the heck? If we take a quick look at some of our colliders in here, not too bad, you know, but there's gonna be places, especially probably on the underside, where it's gonna be well, here there's here's one example, right? You can see where it's coming here, the green line, right? This should always be a flat thing, so you can slide down and also climb up, and you can see it's kind of jutting outward here, right? So not what we need, right? I can decide if I want, no, I don't. I was gonna say I could decide if I want to have it where you can land on the edge there, but no, no. Let's stick with what works, which is just going all the way down. So what I need to do then is obviously come through here and line up all the colliders for the tiles correctly. So it's gonna be cleanup, right? This is basically just sort of a cleanup kind of session, where I gotta make all this stuff right. You know, it's not pretty, but it's one of those things got to get done. Let me come back in here. Yep. So all this stuff is still pretty good. Let's see. Don't know what's going on there. Probably just supposed to connect there. When I started mucking with the tiles, I broke a bunch of stuff too. So I got to go through and clean up. So it's going to be a multi kind of thing too, because I also want to sort of start doing the levels the proper way. Let me go to Canyon. We'll start with this guy again. You know, so like the edges are perfectly straight here, right? And kind of like I did the underground, I want to break that up, right? So it looks a little more jagged. It'd be nice to do some stuff here, but I probably won't. Just because I don't, yeah, because I want him to be able to slide straight down or climb up. So those are probably going to stay pretty much the same. All right, but the thing to address right now, the first thing to tackle, and here's you can see the colliders are all, see the green lines? That's all foobarred right there. That's just terrible. So we'll have to go through and just do that by hand, clean all that stuff up. But first things first, what I need to do is go into Photoshop and finish cleaning the lava out of a version that I can overlay on top that'll serve as a ground collider without actually touching the lava. So let's go back, and this is what I was working on when I started chatting with you guys. All right, so you can see a lot of this. If I load up recent lava, there you go. So this is what the lava version by itself looks like, right? And then here you can see where I'm starting to yank all the lava out. So the idea is that this version resides in a background layer, right? And then this layer lays on top of it and allows me to do the colorations and also the collisions and stuff like that. Whereas before, some people in the early alpha tests that I was tossing out there, letting people play, they were noting some parts where in the canyon they would move and they would hit edges. And that was because I didn't have this configured. So if you had like a lava curve, then it would hit, and you know. Anyways, we'll be addressing that. So first things first, let's go in here and start cleaning up stuff. Actually, no, first things first, let me do a quick good luck toss to my dog. Excuse me. Here we go. Hopefully I can start off with a successful toss. There we go. There we go. Shark bait. I am gunning for you, buddy. 620. I'm only 300 behind. All right, I gotta ban shark bait just so I can like have a chance of catching up to him. I'll do one more. I'm feeling lucky. What do you think? Got an 80% chance, right? So come on. Give me 2 in a row. There we go. All right. There's 2. I will quit while I'm ahead and actually start doing some work. I'll let Sharkbait come around and he can do the next toss, which is a miss. Maybe. All right. Let's bounce back in here. All right. So just coming through here and just scraping away. I'm not... I was going to say I'm not having to be too perfect, but I don't want to be sloppy. Because worst case, if I go too far or not enough, I can always come back and grab the layer content that I need and drop it back in, or just delete more if I need to. So this is just sort of like a quick scrape kind of process here. Like that. There you go. Exciting stuff, I know. This is when you need a team. We can kind of go, hey, somebody besides me, go do this. But gotta get done. But yeah, so I'm really excited about getting my Switch dev kit, man. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really freaking awesome. Been trying to get on there. Anyone that's been around long enough knows that my last game, Volley Village, which I still think would be a natural fit for it, right? Unfortunately, I never got their blessing, but I'm not sure if that's just because, I mean, it's such an arbitrary system where you had to just send out an email, right, to this one random email address, and you had to sit there and wait for response. And now they've changed it where you can actually access it through your portal. So I think part of the problem may be the fact that they had random people just sending game ideas saying, I want to do this. And so they would just sort of like filter almost all of it to trash automatically. But now you actually have to be a registered developer before you can properly submit and request development on the Switch. Or maybe I just finally got lucky and they got to the point where they're going, screw it, let it all in. You know, the bouncer's thrown up his arms, right? And everyone can walk in the door now, right? Anyone can walk into the bar. Even the really ugly, creepy dude, right? He's going to go straight in. Oh. Let's perform the action on your behalf. Can you please give us... Oh, sweet. All right. Okay, wow. I finally got an email from Xbox. They apologized for missing the first one. Turns out resending a email with an addition in the title of second request does actually work sometimes. Thank you, Larry, for tipping me off to that idea, because that has actually gotten their attention. So yay there. All right, so let me just clean this up a little bit more. All right. Yeah, and yeah, you can still see some orange there. We'll see once I actually have it in context if it reads or not, you know. So I mean, some of this might be coming back and doing a little touch up here and there, but hopefully this will get us close enough. Hey, Bug, what up, buddy? Welcome back. How's it going, man? Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. I don't think you were here earlier this week. I don't know if you heard my big news, which I just announced a couple days ago. But my video game Triple Troubles will now officially be getting released for the Nintendo Switch. So there you go. I'm pretty excited about that. Finally got their blessing and just ordered my dev kit. So I gotta wait for that to show up impatiently. Amazing, man. Yeah, thanks, man. Congrats, thanks. I appreciate that. So yeah, so it's gonna be a good spectrum. It's gonna be now basically what we got most of the goodies covered. It'll be Xbox, it'll be Switch, of course, Steam, maybe Epic. I don't know. I don't want to spread myself too thin, so I may just stick with Steam initially, depending on the feedback I get, and of course iOS and Android as well. So there's gonna be quite a few platforms. Hopefully no one will come up. I've had that before too, where they say, you know, are you going to release it for this? And it's kind of like, yeah, maybe. So, you know, this is going to be my first true truly cross-platform, whereas before all my previous titles were just either iOS or Android. So yeah, this one's definitely a little more ambitious, at least on the release front, but we'll get there. I got faith. And I mean, I'll give total kudos to Unity for this too, right? You know, I mean, there's still some gotchas, there's still some headaches, you know, because everyone's going to have their own leaderboards and that kind of stuff, right? And then there's some code that runs on some platforms and not on others, and that includes plugins, right? So that's always a bit of a trick, right? So invariably, you're going to have some pretty platform-dependent code set up, right? Oh shoot, did I break that? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, no, that's just XS. Got it. Okay, we're good. No, this is mainly just to go to the other side of this thing, so to make sure that it doesn't have those little gaps and lines and stuff that Unity likes to do. So yeah, I just paid Unity a compliment, so now I'm gonna go ahead and smack it too, because right now I'm really not totally happy with their 2D tool sets, that they have a tendency to overshoot their quad on, at least on the tile area, the 2D tile stuff. So sometimes you get these little gaps, and the only way to deal with it is to burn the neighboring grid, right? So here's a perfect example, right? So I would like to use this square for something else, but I need to make sure that it has the same match, right? Because if I don't, what'll happen is if I have like space here, sometimes you'll see like a little white line, right, in the gameplay, which is just infuriating. But anyway, workable. It just means that you have to waste some of your real estate in your atlas map on edges, just to make sure that you don't end up with gaps, or the other way around too. You can end up with lines, right, in something that should be an open space area. So Bug, what's going on with you, man? Anything new? You ready for the weekend? Do anything exciting? As some of you know, I live here in Las Vegas, and I'm happy to say that the casinos have opened back up, and apparently lost your score by change. Yeah, you're not the only person to do that. Yeah, unfortunately that happened to Maboob as well. Maboob was like the first one to jump and get like a super high score, and he changed his name and yeah, got tossed at the bottom of the list. So sorry about that. That's kind of a Twitch thing. Apparently you don't get an ID, you just get the name, right? So I have no way of knowing if you are or not the same person. It's okay. It just gives you incentive to, like, you know, climb back up that hill again. So, if you don't mind me asking, so what made you, I'm always curious, what motivated you to update your name, change your username? I've had a couple people in the past did it because they've gotten, like, in knockdown, drag out fights with people, and they just decided it wasn't worth the headache, so they just reset. So I'm always curious what the motivation is for updating the account, you know. Unless you're like a super secret spy or something, and then you got like the, you know, they're onto you, and you have to change your identity. James Bond, like, oh, you wanted to change it completely? Okay. Fair enough. I've done that too. Mainly with my emails over the years, that kind of stuff. But I can't. Oh, yeah. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my Scary Robot. That's my company name, and sometimes for like most of them, I have not been able to get actual Scary Robot. Only in 2 months. Oh, okay. So you have to wait 2 months before you can do it fully. Okay. Well, that sucks. But yeah. So you know, if I can get Scary Robot, I go Scary Robot. I think on Mixer, I think I might have Scary Robot, but most of them I have Scary Robot Games, which still works. Streamers can't say it. Oh yeah. I say bug. I'm cheating. So Vesela bug. But yeah, yeah, Vinny. Yeah, yeah. You go by Vinny. I remember. I was trying. Yeah, I do remember. You're Vinny, but or you. Excuse me. You go by Vinny. The simpler for us simple people, which or that's me. So, so I do remember that. Yep, I remember. But yeah. So wait. So when you rename it, what are you going to change the name to? Vinicius Santos Albuquerque. Oh, got it. Okay, now I understand the connection. I should have taken a right at Albuquerque. Got it. Okay, that makes more sense. But anyone, okay. So, yeah. Yeah, I was raised on those cartoons, man. So, Chuck Jones is my hero. I love Chuck Jones so much. All right, so that went pretty fast. We got that cleaned up. So let's go ahead and save this bad boy out. This PNG. Oh, but before we do, we got to make sure that all the squares have something in it, right? We learned that lesson the hard way. So yeah, you change it to something people can say, gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha. Yep. I think just if you just do like a random character set, you know, like letters and numbers, right? Just, you know, just to make it worse. Yeah, there we go. I'll make it black just because. There we go. All right. So this is what I talked about before. If you're doing tiles in Unity, you never want to leave an open square, especially if you're letting Unity set it up, the squares for you, which is just the easier way, right? If it divides it up, because, excuse me, if it comes up with an empty square, it skips it outright, right? Which is fine until you want to go back and modify and put something in that square, because then your numbering goes completely off and all of your tiles, right, shift. And that means you have to rebuild all your tiles, which is just a freaking nightmare. Learned that one hard way in the early days. So the simplest solution is just make sure you have something in every square. There you go, man. 50 points. You're climbing back up. Of course, as always, Sharkbait completely owns us with his massive score. Yeah. He was actually trying to go for 1,000. He ran out of time on Wednesday, but he was shooting for 1,000. All right. So let me... Okay, he's good. So let's go ahead and toss this into our game. Assets, images, canyon. Yes. Canyon tiles, background, done. All right. Now let's see if I can remember how to incorporate this crap. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Wrong way. Bad dog. It's funny, she gets more exercise in this one than she does outside for real now. You know, now that we're hitting the triple digits here in Vegas, yeah, she wears out really quick. It's funny to watch. We'll play catch, and then you know when she's done, because you see how she returns the disc, right? She brings it back to you every time. Oh no, crap. 2 in a row. That sucks, dude. So, yeah, so she brings it back. But when she gets tired, what she does is she'll come up to the edge of the grass, and then she'll turn and just sort of like walk back and then drop the disc into the grass and just kind of stare at it, kind of like going, yeah, I'm done. So I have to walk over and pick it up, and by the time I get there, she's already flown by me and gone right into the door inside. No, you cannot get negative points. I clamp it at 0. That would just piss people off, I think, if you could actually go negative. Jeez. Sorry, man. That's 3 in a row. Well, the good news is, statistically, you should be wreaking havoc now. Right, there you go. See, you're down to the 0. So now you should have, like, a bunch in a row that should work nicely. Because you're definitely cursed at the moment. All right. So I'm stalling because I gotta remember how to do this crap again. All right, so let's go in our images, and this is canyon tiles. Canyon lava tiles. No way, come on, you cannot do 4 misses in a row. Well, the good news is you can't go any lower. Wow, dude, I can't remember the last time I saw 4 misses in a row. There you go, man, nowhere but up right now. You got it. All right, background. Yep, all right, so let's divide this up. We go multi-sprite editor. Yeah, sure. There you go. Slice by cell count. And I think it's what, 6 by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's right. Slice. Yep, 6 by 6. Looks my life. Looks like my life. Yeah, I think we've all gotten pretty dinged by the coronavirus, man. I'm hoping, yeah, my wife keep having those discussions, kind of going, you know, is it safe to open up the door and go outside again, you know? It's kind of a crazy time. All right, so we should, okay, so we got that, that's applied, all right, and now we need to do a new one here. So we'll say canyon lava background. Like so. Create, and then it's going to ask where you want it. Let's see, access image canyons tiles. Yeah, maybe it is going in there. Let's see, let me see what folder that is. Okay, we'll try it in there. But you seem to have a lot of space on US. Here, almost every city is like New York. Oh, really? Oh, geez. Okay. Well, yeah, I saw the news a while back, and you guys were sort of like taking the reins in terms of the growth of cases. I haven't heard lately. Has that started to diminish now? Are you guys hopefully starting to plateau? Or do you still have cases jumping up like crazy there? But yeah, even though I'm in Las Vegas, I actually don't live in the you know, like on the strip, right, with all the casinos. I actually live, you know, in a suburb that's away from it. So my state is one of the most controlled. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah. So where are you guys at though? I mean, I guess I was asking about the growth or hopefully the plateauing for you guys in terms of cases. But are you guys still on lockdown? Or, I mean, how bad is it there for you guys? I mean, we're starting to finally come out of it, right? We can go visit the casinos now. We've reached, okay, that's good. So you did hit the peak. Okay, good. Glad to hear that. Yeah. All right. But you're still on lockdown. Oh, geez, man. Sorry about that. Yeah, after a couple of months, we were all getting stir crazy. I know that. Yeah, let's just put it in here. This is lava tiles background. Like so. Oh, oops. Let's correct that. Yep. Like I said, I haven't done this lately, so I keep forgetting. It's kind of a convoluted process, but there we go. That should do it. All right. I'm actually doing pretty fine. Didn't thought it would go so well. I guess introversion is a skill now. That is true, man. That is true. You know, that is one of the good things about, you know, working out of the house is the fact that, yeah, at least in terms of, for me, you know, yeah, it didn't really change much at all, right? You know, the local meetups and hanging out with friends stuff has gone to the wayside, which I do miss significantly. But hopefully soon we can come back to that pretty soon. But yeah, that is true. I've seen a few friends post memes about that, you know, like memes I would say, been in coronavirus lockdown since like 1998, and it just shows them in front of the computer just working. you know. All right, so that's good. Yep, I resemble that remark. All right, canyon tiles. Oh, I think that's supposed to be palette. See, I haven't done this in a while, so I totally screwed that up. Ah, misspelling lava. Tiles, what the heck? Just call it like that. Select folder. About Unity, can you program the game in other language? You could, about 5 years ago. No, actually, C Sharp. C Sharp. Originally, Unity a decade ago, which, by the way, I mentioned this a while back, but on the forums, Unity forums, my registration reads as 2007. So I've been using it a while. But originally, it was C Sharp, Unity script, which was kind of a JavaScript derivative, Boo, and I think there was one, Mono, right? Which it still compiles down to. But over the years, they've sort of like the less popular ones have fallen to the wayside. And up until just a few years ago, it was just down to JavaScript or Unity script and C Sharp. And then they started implying through very unsubtle means that they were going to drop Unity script. Things like IntelliSense, autocomplete would stop working, or worse is it would change when you're trying to write a Unity script, it would change your text to the C Sharp structure and then turn around and flag it as an error, like string, right? It would take string lowercase s and make it an uppercase S and then flag it as kind of going, you just made that wrong. It's kind of like, dude, you just made that wrong, you jerk. And then people report as a bug, and Unity just kind of went, we're aware of the situation and will not be addressed. That's when we all knew that they were going to be dumping Unity script. So for me, the downside is literally my first 3 games, right, that I made, 3 or 4 games, were all done in Unity script, right? And now, if I want to do any revisions to them, I have to redo the entire game from scratch, redo all the code, because the only way I could load it in Unity now is if I load up a super old version of Unity, which I can, but that means that it won't do things like a 64-bit build, which means that I can go back to an old version of Unity, right, and make adjustments, but I literally can't load it, send it off to Apple. They'll reject it because it's a 32-bit build, right? So that's been, I get a lot of questions on some of my games. There's one in particular that I said I was going to revisit next month, and I'll probably do it on here, called Save the Titanic, which I'm going to have to redo, right? And all the plugins, too, because the plugins are either totally broken or abandoned, right? So that means I have to yank out all the plugins, find ones to replace them with, or rewrite them myself, and then, just update all that code, right? So, I mean, that's going to be kind of nasty. I have to admit, I'm not a fan of complex things. If I could program in a loosely typed language, I'd probably give it a try. In that case, and I've said this before, I hate to do this, right? But take a look at Unreal. The Unreal Engine, both Unity and Unreal are totally free, right? But the Unreal Engine comes built in with a Blueprint, right? And Blueprint is a node-based visual editor that allows you to make some pretty robust game content without writing a single line of code. Unity was working on their own for a couple of years before they finally just gave up and they turned around and bought another company that had made a visual editor. But I still haven't gotten it clarified if they're going to go ahead and integrate it and make it free, or if they just bought the company and they're still selling it. I don't know what their deal is, but for the time being, Unreal, between Unreal and Unity, Unreal is the only one that has a free version. And just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, let's see, give you a quick example here. Images. There you go. So this is Unreal, their Blueprint, right? So, I'm not saying that you're not gonna make Fortnite with Blueprint, right? You know, but this allows you to do some pretty robust stuff, right? You can actually make some nice game content. And like I said, not right. I actually use a lot of C# at my job. I just don't like it. Fair enough. I hate it mainly just because I have no idea what I'm doing. You know, I'm not a trained programmer. I'm an animator. That's my thing. So, yeah, I concur. I mean, with Unity script, I felt you know, an easier time. Before that, I played with another game engine, and that was actually using Lua, which is also much more forgiving, right? But yeah, you know, I mean, if you still want to use Unity, but you want to do it as node-based, then there's a couple that you can buy, like Playmaker and stuff like that, that sell for anywhere between $40 and $100, I think, right? That allow you to do visual scripting. But yeah, I think at a certain point, you're probably gonna have to write some code if you're gonna make a very robust game. But there you go. And I hate this. Every time I drag the stuff in, it always throws off the order. So let me reorganize this stuff. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It always does 7. Even though it knows the grid was 6 by 6, it doesn't do it. What it does is just like grabs it and throws it down and like offsets everything. So the way we do this is we grab edit. I have to do this every time I drop in a bunch of new stuff. And then let's go ahead and move this over one. We'll grab this guy. I'll make this larger, since I gotta deal with this for a minute, like so. So then now we go this one, so we gotta come down here and move these guys over two, like that. That Unreal thing you showed looks like UML. What is UML? I'm not familiar with UML. Uh-oh. Did I go over too many? I think I did. Oh, just a prototype classes? Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Might be something similar. I got a friend that's been trying to make a game with it for a couple of years now. I'm not sure if he's going to succeed or not. Jury's still out, I think, but yeah, I would be paranoid and terrified that if I did go that route, that I would hit that barrier and I'd realize that, oh crap, now I gotta go back and start writing code because I can't do what I want. And when you have to start compromising what your game can do to accommodate what the visual scripting tools can do, then you kind of, you know, the tail's wagging the dog. Right, and that's something I would be concerned about. All right, grab this last bit right here. There it goes. I don't know why Unity does that. It always goes like one extra and does it all offset. I mean, it knows it's a 6 by 6 grid, right? So I have no clue why it likes throwing that stuff off. All right, so the cool thing now is now they have this set up. I'm going to shrink this back down a bit. Make myself some room here. Right. Now we can go back to our foreground, right? And start dropping this bad boy in. If I can figure out who's who. Let's see. Oh. Let me come out of edit. And let me go back. Too many buttons. Too many ways to screw this up. Oh, wait a second. Shoot. I forgot. This is 100. I gotta set that to 128. There it goes. Now there it goes. Now we slot in there perfectly. The language I like most is JavaScript. Okay, today using that language is I can program for servers, nodes, web, and mobile, React Native. You can do almost anything. Yep. And like I said, about 4 years ago, you could make games with Unity, with Unity script, which for all intents and purposes really was just JavaScript. I guess you still could use it, but I'd be concerned about what happens when you want to publish it. I know, like I said, Apple, you can't do it. You know, they'll reject it because it's not 64-bit. But yeah, And I mean, I understand where Unity's coming from because they're kind of going, you know, anything they do, they have to do multiple times over, right? We make all this new code and then we have to apply it. Oops, sorry. We have to apply it to all these different languages. So yeah, I understand their incentive or disincentive for not wanting to do that, but you know, considering that was their big selling point originally was, you know, the democratization of development. You know, program the game the way you want. You know, we give you so many choices, and now not so much. We say you use this language, okay? You know, but I mean, in fairness, you know, Unreal has a choice of C++, and you know that's it. So similar in that aspect, I guess. All right. So if you can see what I'm doing now is I'm laying in this layer right on top, which allows me to there you go. So it covers up the brightness, right? And it also will provide colliders, which is perfect. Actually, if they made just the interpreter, it would be easier. Today it is exactly what you do with React Native. You build for all platforms. Oh, interesting. Okay. So to be honest, you're kind of getting beyond me there, but that's cool. I'm not sure what goes into that, and I'm sure there's some reason why Unity's kind of going, yeah, we're not gonna go that route. But that is interesting. All right, so shoot. All right, I gotta fix that somehow. The way it's sticking out there. All right. Yeah, the width varies here. All right, let me fix this first, and then I'll try and figure out how to address that. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, to me, it still feels kind of like a black box. So, I mean, when it works, I'm just kind of happy, just kind of go, it works, you know, and you know, don't question. Because, like I said, I can code just enough to somehow make it run, and shake my head and wonder why it actually works, you know. All right, so here's what we got here, and then, all right, oh, yeah, okay. So, good. We should be able to... Wait, why is that so thick? It's a lot of work, though. That's why they don't do it. React was able to do it just because they are pretty open. I can add code there if I want. They just analyze it before merging. Oh, so it's open source, too. So, gotcha. I didn't realize that. So, yeah. So, anyone can contribute just as long as it's not destructive. That's awesome. That's very awesome. Okay, so canyon tiles. Oops. Oh, shoot, wrong thing. Tile map. Foreground. Let's switch back to background. And it is this guy. Like that. And that. And that. All right, so then when I put the cover back on, if I can find it, shoot, it does not. Okay, how do I... Oh, crap. No, that won't do it either. Nah. Got a problem with that being different. Although it shouldn't be. Canyon tiles. Switch back to foreground. Or this is cover. No. I need one that actually reaches the edge, but that's the one that has... Crap. guess I could do it where it reveals post. That's kind of a... Oh, that's the wrong one anyways, though. Crap. All right. So the complication is the fact that in this one, we created a subset of tiles that are one tile thick, but they have a different width. So as a result, this, where I have like this cover bit that gets revealed, right, like that, reveals that. But I guess what I could do, maybe, no, crap. All right, so what if we try this? We go cover. Let's just remove some of this cover. How about that? Like so. Okay. Like I said, this is cleaning out the closet. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. Because it's one of those things I knew I'd have to come back and address this at some point, and you know, now is about the time. No, 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 nope. Need one with top and bottom, but not both. No. Crap. Where is it? I guess it's that. Okay, there it is. That's okay. I had the right idea there, but the wrong direction. Yeah, okay, we can make this work. Yep. Cool. And where is my vertical that gives me the edge? It's not that one. Oh, here we go. This one. Nope, nope, wrong. This one. There he is. And doesn't really line up, does it? Alright, I'm gonna see if I can get away with that. Oh, wait, wait. Ah! Damn it, it switched the active layers. It does that. It's like it randomly switches the layers sometimes just to try and screw with you, I think. Alright, so I definitely need that. Crap. Lucini, what's up, buddy? Welcome, welcome. Welcome back, buddy. What's going on, man? TGIF. Welcome to the weekend. Just trying to figure out how to deal with tiles that are varying sizes. You try and plan all this stuff out, but invariably you're going to get bit at a certain point. Okay, so what if I just do this? Ooh, this might work. No. Maybe. If I take the breakable and move him over. Alright. What's going on, man? How you doing? Not much. Just been doing a little bit of pixel art today. How's work going so far? Frustrating. I'm finally getting back to the canyon level stuff, which I've neglected because I knew it was going to be a pain in the ass. Because this is where we started introducing a one thick tile kind of stuff with lava, and I didn't really prep for that, so now I'm having to go back and try and clean stuff up, and it's a situation where I have to sort of like adjust, right? Sometimes I can make it work, and sometimes I have to sort of like come up with a cheat to make it work, but I think I can make this work. But let's see, I think were you here, refresh my memory, were you here Wednesday? I can't remember. Don't want to repeat myself if you were, but if you weren't. So the big news for me was the fact that I announced that Tribbles. Oh, you were here Friday? Okay. I finally got the blessing. Tribbles will be coming out on the Nintendo Switch. I finally got their approval. So, yay. I'm going to be developing for the Switch. Got it ordered. Just got to wait for it to show up. So, yeah. Thanks, man. Pretty excited. Be my first Switch game. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. So, yeah. I got Xbox, got Switch. Of course, PC, Steam, and then iOS and Android. So, shooting the gamut. I you know, enough platforms that hopefully will make some money. Hopefully. Oh, geez, man. Sorry about that. All right. So, let me check out my breakables. Where are my breakables? Okay. Damn, I thought I had one that was edge. Uh-oh. I might have to go back and address that. Unless I just put them here. Okay. We'll just make them here. And clear that one out. Yeah. Alright. So this is going to look funky, probably, but at least it'll work with the tiles that I got here. Oops. No, no, no. Nope. We want cover like this. Alright, let's see how bad this looks, shall we? Alright, and then the can is going to have to go here. Permit 0. Negative 0.5. Yeah, good enough. And 1. Yeah. Okay, we'll leave them there for right now. Alright. And then, like so. That's the same one, isn't it? Alright. Mix it up. Yeah, it does look kind of funky. Oh well. Let's see. Actually, can we delete these and get away with it? Nope, because that's the one again. Crap. Alright. So maybe we'll just leave... Oh no, that's so obvious. Damn it. I have to make like another wide tile, I think. Do I have room? Let me see if I got room. Not loaded yet. All right, so let's go open, because this is biting me in the butt way too much. So I'm gonna have to just deal with this. Let's see. Yep, I got some open tiles in here. Yep. All right, we can make this happen. We're gonna have to make it happen. By the way, does the game have procedural generation, or will every map be handmade? Handmade. I toyed with the idea of doing procedurals. The catch was procedurals work well, like in Spelunky and that kind of stuff, and like Downwell, where it's less about the navigation and more about just sort of wreaking havoc, right? You know, Spelunky, you can always get out of a situation if you have bombs. If you run out of bombs, guess what? Game over, right? And then Spelunky, Downwell is more about just shooting the stuff as you drop, right? So in my case, what I realized was I wanted more control over and I wanted to be a little more on the puzzle playing side, right? At least for the first 2 levels, right? And for the underground and the canyon, the original intention was to have these intricate maze-like levels, right? Which, if you need a refresher. Let's go back. Save. Scenes, underground. Save. All right. Oh, can you tell I've been breaking stuff? Let me fix this real quick. Rising lava. Canyon. Let's see. Underground lava. Hey, Rave Me is now following. Hey, did I say that right? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome, by the way. How's it going? All right. Thank you so much, man. All right, so let me clean this up. So I've been moving tiles around, of course, and that's just been breaking crap. Revami? You can tell me if I'm butchering that. I'm sorry about that. Underground lava. All right. Let's see. There it goes. So let me fix this. There we go. All right. And then, see, I close that out. Good. Sweet. So hopefully I cleaned it up and we should be... Nope. We're still in underground. Did I not save? Oh, I didn't save. That's why. All right. So trying to illustrate the point here. It just, I mean, this may be possible to do with procedural, to have this kind of intricate layout, but what I wanted, oh yeah, please do. Come on, Penny. You just did a follow, so catch it this time. There you go. Nice catch. There you go. You're on the board. So I wanted an experience, right, where I really controlled it, you know, where the glommers are, right, and then the lava and that kind of stuff. You know, I'm sure it's possible by smarter minds, much smarter minds than me, to come up with a system that would produce this procedurally and still have it be a coherent kind of challenge. Game is rigged. I always lose. And Penny knows I'm a cat person. So, oh, look at that. I got to fix those too. Look at that. That's broken down there. Oops. That's a good reminder. So for these, you know, the idea was that I wanted the whole game to be sort of like this, right? Where they were handcrafted, right? And then you have to sort of like navigate the path. But when we get to the two later worlds, right, which as you climb up, you go into a jungle and then you inevitably get back on a spaceship. And for those, these characters, they only go left and right, right? This is true for the glommers. It's true for, in the canyon, you have sandworms, and they literally are just left and right. That's the extent of their motions, right? But when you get into the jungle, right, at that point, then you have a situation where let me switch back to jungle. Then we have the ape, right, who can chase you around like crazy. And I realized that I can't do the specific path because what happens is you end up like a rat in a maze and you get cornered every time. So then I had to open the levels up. So ironically, as the game progressed, I realized that I kind of painted myself into a corner, and the underground and the spaceship areas are much more open space, right? Which, once again, probably could be done procedurally, but I wouldn't know how to make it, I wouldn't know how to pull it off. So unfortunately at this point, yeah, I'm still doing it by hand. Let's save that. Let's see. And then let me just, you know what? It's going to break, but I'll fire it up, see what it does. Oh, yep. Oh, it totally broke. What did I do? Did I not? Yeah, I switched that. Oh, I see why. Let me just hard code the level. They don't behave. Let's see. Was it 2CL that I had? No. 1LR. There it is. 1LR. Let me switch that back. 1. There we go. Let's fire that up again. I see, but I guess doing it by hand, it gives you more ideas while creating levels, etc. Also, can you show the ape animation? Oh, sure. Coming right up. Asking you shall see if I got this set up correctly. There we go. Yep. You can see the ape here, along with the new beating in the chest animation. Well, when he does it. There he goes. So that's what I was working on Wednesday when I left you guys, was the animation, which I wasn't happy with, but I kept tweaking it. And the key breakthrough for me was I realized the thing I was missing was him rocking his back, pushing his back, right? Then it had that sort of Tarzan, kind of look about it, right? Whereas before, it looked more like he was dancing a jig, right? Which was, cute, but kind of defeats the purpose there, So yeah, I'm much happier with that. So now that's in there, and then you can see when he gets to you, he'll smack you around, do some damage, like so. So anyways, what I was illustrating was the fact that you can see that these levels are much more open, because if I had the levels that you saw in the underground, right, you'd follow a path and you'd immediately get trapped, and you just kind of go, oh great, I'm dead now, he's gonna catch me. Here, you can always sort of find your way out. There's still possible to get trapped if you come in here, but at least you're kind of willingly setting yourself up for that, getting caged in there. So, like so. You know what? I can knock this out, and let me set the hard code. Oops. I'd play more than just that one. All right. So now I can switch this, and let's see. Jungle is 3. Yes. All right, we'll try this again, and now it's going to go beyond that one level, and we get to see the glommers come back in, as well as the plant trap. If I did that correctly, did I? Yep, I did. All right, and then we get to see the poisonous vines. Excuse me. Where is he? Uh-oh. Oh, that's right. Because that's right. I really like the animation style. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, I mean, as I've mentioned probably way too many times, and I'm sorry if I have, but yeah, animation is what I've been doing for, at this point, over a couple decades, right? So animation's been my bread and butter for a long time. But thank you. I appreciate that. And the art is done by a very, very talented artist named Daniel Thomas, who I've been working with for over a decade now. So yeah, I'm just doing the animation and the programming and the game design, that kind of crap. But so what's funny is you see there's no ape here, and I forgot the reason why is because, as you guys remember, it's funny. I redid how the ape behaves, right? His system for moving around, and I fixed that one scene, but I have not applied that fix to all the levels. So what happens here? Let me go wide here. Let me come out of this. It's gonna throw a ton of errors. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't make the art. I have good art skills. Daniel has amazing art skills. You see the limbs and etc., but someone else draws the pictures. Oh no. Here. This is the way that we're here. Let's go ape. I'll show you. The ape is just a bunch of pieces, sort of like you know how they used to have those books with little cutout dolls and stuff. There you go. Here's what ape looks like. So he's all chopped up, right, into separate pieces. And then what I did is I took him and I went into my weapon of choice, which is Maya, because I've been using Maya since like, oh geez, early 2000s. And so I rigged him up, and it's funny because Maya has a really bad handling of Z depth, right? So when I was trying to animate the character, you had all, like here, the hand, it's subtle, but like the hand right here is on top of that knee. This should actually be behind the knee. But Maya does crap job with Z depth on flat sprites with alphas. So what I ended up doing, let me go back here and go into perspective, was just spacing them out. So there you go. You can see he's just kind of all discombobulated, right? So, but if we just look him out of the front, right? There you go. So then what I did was I rigged him up, right, with joints. So if he showed, oh, oops, let me come back here. Overshot. There you go. So he has the little bones right here. These are all the joints, and then I added these controls, and then I'm just animating the specific controls, right? 200 IQ. Yeah, I don't hear that often. Can I get you to tell my wife that? Because she'll probably disagree. But so that's the way I've been working. The same with the tribble is just each one of those are separate pieces. So it just you know, and it's Unity is not excuse me, Maya is really not necessarily designed to do 2D animation. So it's sort of like, you know, like I was describing before, I think is basically it's like using a Ferrari to deliver Domino's pizzas, right? It's kind of overkill. Do you tell the artist exactly what you want? Not really. Yes and no. I mean, what I did is, if I can, here, I'll show you what some of my prototype stuff, if you want, if you're curious. Let's see. Oops. Let's go into Z. Images. Let's see. Canyon. Oops. Canyon. Let's see. Mr. Holman. Everyone! We were curious. Watching with three friends. Okay, let me see if I can find it then. So I'm in my Tribble folder here. Let's see. Is it R&D? Is that right? Let's see. Oh, you know what? No, I think images. Let's go Canyon. No, crap! I gotta find it now. That's from Daniel. Let's see if I can. Let's see, mockup. No. Shoot, my structure is not fantastic. Let me mockup. Here we go. All right, let's look at some goodies here. So if I do. All right, so that was using his artwork. Let me see if I can find what I was doing originally. Jungle mockup. No, crap. Because this is all his stuff, and I'm trying to find what I gave him for the suggestions. No, that's still his work. But actually, that's kind of interesting to see anyways, because you can see what he did, right, based on what I sent him. And, you know, you can see that versus the finished product, right? Whoops. If we can come back. Tell you what, let's go into the jungle for a second here. I always label my folders as new folder. Always makes life so much easier, right? It's kind of like, yeah, just look in the new folder. Which new folder? The newer new folder. Newest folder. All right. But, okay, so like here, we come into this, since the ape hasn't taken off yet. So let's come back into here, and if we look at, yeah, jungle mockup. There you go. So, you know, this is, I'll try and find what I sent him, because it was nowhere near this pretty. But you can see, what I did was I sort of roughed out, and I explained what specifics I was looking for, right? And then he just invariably goes way beyond it, right? I said, I may have only said something as simple as I want it to be an alien ape, right? I may have said the one eye, or that might have been his concoction, right? But I didn't give specifics on, I just want like the, you know, a couple of fingers or that kind of stuff, or a little tuft of hair on the top. That's, you know, the beauty is knowing how much to tell an artist and then knowing when to shut up. And Daniel is absolutely amazing. So it just, and we've also been working together for a bunch of years, right? So, okay, just to, let's see. I gotta find what I sent him, because I think that's interesting in comparison. Let's see. So planet progress. Maybe if I do it by date. Canyon oldest. Nope. Okay, it must not be in images. Let's see. External. Sorry guys, I'm just. Maybe it is an R&D. Okay, now Let's see. Okay, here we go. Equipment reference for Daniel. Found it. I found the folder for Daniel. Okay, so yeah, I was giving him images that I found. This is mainly for like color space, right? I always thought since you were animating, you do the art yourself, but it makes sense now. So basically, someone's like, here's some parts of a creature, do your thing. Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's also, you know, one of my old favorite Dirty Harry Clint Eastwood lines: "A man's got to know his limitations," right? So it's one of those things that I could spend 5 times as long making art that's 1/3 this quality, right? Or, you know, and then this is depending on my budget too. And I had just done a bunch of freelance animation work, so I had some money in the bank. So I turned to Daniel and I was like, dude, go work your magic, right? So what other art I was going to make becomes exponentially prettier. Let's see, jungle. Here we go, jungle mock-up. All right, so yeah, so this is just some character I found, right? That I was using as more of a guide, you know. This is one I found in the Unity store, right, just as a placeholder, but it gives an idea of proportions, and that's the key thing too, is the fact that it gives a sense of proportion. So if you look at that, and then you look at what he came back with, it's kind of fascinating, I think. So let's go back Z. Let's go images from Daniel. Let's go jungle mock-up. There you go. So look at that. So that's kind of an interesting. See if I can go side by side here, maybe. And I just kind of reused the underground tiles that he'd already made for me, right? And I explained that it's going to be jungle, right? True. Yeah. True. So this is what I sent him, right? And then this is what he returned with, right? So it's kind of cool. You can see that the pose. He kind of followed suit, right? And you see the triples in the same space, but the difference is, and I said I wanted poisonous vines there, but he came up with like the swirly stuff, and then the I said a Venus flytrap kind of thing, right? But it's so much fun just to say, you know, give him the basics, right? And I mean, sometimes he'll come back and he'll have a different vision from what I have in my head, and either one of two things happens: either I look at it. More times than not, I look at it and kind of go, that's so much better than what I had in my head. Or sometimes I say, I love it, but it's in the wrong direction. Here's what I need. And, you know, he's totally open to constructive criticism, and he'll go, okay, got it. Let me go that direction. And, you know, it improves. If you wanted to make the ape have a longer arm, do you already have the tools for that? Or do you need to get back to the artists? Excuse me. In that case, I don't have the tools, but that would be something that I would just probably do in-house, right? I can take what's there and modify, right? I'm not a total terrible artist. So, like, for example, what I'm dealing with now, right, with, let me close this stuff. You know, I have these lava tiles, right? Excuse me. And, you know, Daniel made a bunch of this, but he didn't make all of them. So now I'm taking what he gave me, right? And, like, for example, like this one right here, right, is a mix of a couple of pieces put together. He didn't make this one. I made this one because I didn't know I would need that until I started putting levels together. So in the case of the ape, I would probably at least take a crack at it myself, right? If I needed to extend it, something like that, right? So that's what frequently happens, is that I'll tell him, you know, and I'll either take a stab at it and then realize that I'm totally making it worse, and then I'll hand it back to him, or it's just, you know, I can address it myself and just bang it, and there's no reason to throw it back to him, take his time and have to pay him when I can just address it myself. So it depends on how hard it is to fix up what needs fixing. All right, so there's that. Let's see if I can find, oh, here we go, underground. All right, so that's a reference. So once again, and another thing I'm big on is finding a lot of existing art to help set the mood, right? So this is something I sent him. This is all about color space, right? And he has amazing color sense, right? Absolutely fantastic. Oh, interesting. Yeah, cool. Thanks. So for me, the beauty of it is, you know, and then that was what's key, right? So if you look at what I showed for the canyon, right? Oops. That's from Daniel. Where's my, oh, here we go. move this back over. So yeah, for Canyon. So here, right, the key thing I was looking for was we start bluing stuff up, right? At this point, we're climbing out of the underground, right? And then we're starting to get blue. And you can see how he took that and how he kind of represented that color space pretty closely, right? He touched on it. The foreground is oranging up, right? As you see the branches, stuff like that. But in the background, we start getting lighter, warmer, right? Or colder, sorry. Blue is colder. So that's what an amazing artist can do for you. So that's okay. Showed you that. Yes, I was playing with the idea of how the volcanoes will work. So once again, just finding some reference that he riffed off of. Let's see, jungle mock-up. I showed you that one, and then spaceship interior. Spaceship mock-up. There you go. So yeah, and then so here we go again. So this was my mock-up that I threw together using primarily, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, so most of the stuff is just pre-existing art that I grabbed from various places, right, and slapped together. But once again, you see how we go from there to what ended up being the finished product for the spaceship. From Daniel's spaceship. Oops, that's the tile set. There you go. Spaceship mock-up. There you go. So put the right order here. If I can grab it. There you go. So this is what I sent him, right? And so the beauty of this is it gives him an initial sense of what I'm thinking in terms of spatial layouts, right? And allows him to work off that. And then he turns around and makes it not ugly, right? So he does that. He does this mock-up, right? And then if we actually look at what the finished product is, you'll see how close it truly did become. So let's go to spaceship. Go back to my hard code. Switch this back to spaceship. Be smarter to have a quicker system to do this, but oh well. Let's actually switch to spaceship. Anytime. Scenes, spaceship. Yeah, sure. Don't know what I changed, but sure, what the heck. There we go. All right, so let's get him down here. There. All right, so let's see, where is there? So take a look at his concept art, right? This is what he came up with, and look at the finished product, right? I mean, here, let's come out of maximize. Right? I mean, look how close that is. I mean, that's the beauty of good concept art, is that once you can throw it together, and the color space is the big thing, right? Once you have that gelled, then you go, great, let's start making the content. Yeah. So, I mean, and realistically, this is not too far off from this. I switched him to a red shirt. All the security guys are red shirt. The one in purple is actually the captain, which, did you see, have you seen the opening animation that sets the plot for the game? Because that actually has this character. If not, I'll fire that up if you want to check that out. But I mean, so this is beautiful. I mean, Daniel's just amazing, And you can see how loose it is too. I mean, he doesn't go into that much work in terms of polish. It's just that the balancing act, right, of making it refined. Please show it again. Okay. You got it. Tell you what, let me close out here, right? Let's go into, just easiest way is just go in the main menu. And let me knock out my hard code stuff. Otherwise, we'll go wrong place. All right. And I'll mute the music for a second. Turn up the audio a bit here. Right. And then as soon as it finishes compiling, I'll unmute the audio. Maybe. There we go. I gotta go back because I love this music. A very talented guy named Jeremy Reinhold did the music for me that I came across. He had just done some. He did a song that sounded like it came right out of Star Trek. So I got him to do the music. So I want to play this just because I love this theme.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship. Is that a tribble? On my ship!
Oh, did I break something? Oh, weird. Timing went off. I guess because I'm away. So if you know anything about the original Star Trek TV series that takes place in the 60s, he took the original theme and just sort of made like an elevator music version, right? Kind of like a Muzak, right? And at first I kind of went, wait, what? You know, because it is different. But after the third play, I was like, this is perfect. I love the tone, right? Space elevator. There you go. Space elevator music. And of course, now we have like all the clearances down here to say, hey, CBS, right? We got all that stuff. We got permission. So, and then what I did is one of my all-time favorite games is Portal. And I love the fact that you have, when you go into the main menu, you have like the radio version of it. So that's what I did. I copied that. So this is completely my homage to Portal. I love that. It's actually my ringtone. Still Alive, the Portal song. So whenever I play Portal, I keep reaching my phone because I keep hearing the music and I think it's my phone. Yeah, so I love it. It was easy to do. He gave me a version with the vocals dropped out, and I just a little tweak on my end to give it that little radio kind of sound. All right, so and this is the main menu. I am big on doing fancy main menus, right? So it's kind of interactive. Probably overkill, and I'm sure there's people that like to just be simplified, but tough. I like this. That's kind of my thing. I'm making the game the way I want to, until somebody says it sucks. Enough people say it sucks, and then I change it. All right, here we go.
Captain's log, 5392.3. We're concluding our survey of the planet Cortu, a vibrant planet that will soon be completely consumed by its own volcanic core. We'll be departing after we finish retrieving our survey equipment from the planet's surface. Number 1?
Yes, Captain?
What was that?
It looks like a tribble, sir.
What's it doing on my ship?
Looks like it's feasting on our Quadrotriticale.
Ah! Engineering!
Aye, sir.
Scanner show a tribble on my ship?
Aye, sir.
Great. Lock onto that furball and beam it into the center of that planet!
But, sir...
Now! No!
I believe engineering was trying to mention that it couldn't get a lock on just the tribble.
What up?
But I'm guessing that you figured that out. Well played, sir. Well played.
There you go. So there's it kind of sets the tone, right? Welcome, by the way. Bye-bye, welcome. Thanks for coming by. So it helps, it gives you the backstory and explains why your tribble has now been banished to the center of a planet. And just from the map, you can actually see, okay, I get it. You're climbing your way out, right? And if you get to here, you get inadvertently beamed back onto the ship where you originated, right? So, and it kind of sets the tone, the attitude, right? And it also sort of foreshadows characters that you are going to revisit over time. I haven't seen them before. Nice, love it. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And then we go in the actual game, right? So at this point, because when people played the demo originally, they would see the green cans, and they'd be like, what are those cans for, right? I don't know what that's about, but because you just saw that little intro video, right, and you saw, oh, that's the food, right? So now you see it, and you instantly get it. When you hear the chewing, it's your game? It is. This is a game I'm developing. I've been working on for a little over a year now, which it is called Triple Troubles, and just to give some context, for those that are under the age of like 50. So Tribbles actually come from the original Star Trek TV series. The little fur balls called Tribbles. And I was able to get the rights to use Tribbles. Specifically Tribbles and Glommers. So there was an animated Star Trek show. And these are Klingons that have a total hatred of Tribbles. Tribbles hate Klingons. So Klingons actually genetically engineered these Glommers to eat Tribbles. That's all they do. So my license reaches as far as I get tribbles, I get glommers, and I get the quadritriticale, which is the QTC food that they like to eat, and that's the extent of it. That's all I get to mention for Star Trek stuff, in the game at least. But, so, in this case, you have a cute little tribble that gets caught on the ship eating their food and gets banished into the heart of this planet. So now you're trying to find your way up. So you start in the underground, and then here's the glommers, right, that you saw a second ago from the animated series. There you go. And there's hidden areas like that. And so you're collecting the food, which will replenish your health. Oh, that's I gotta fix that, right? That's something I broke earlier. The lava there. Oops. I gotta remember to go back to the bonus levels and fix that. But you can collect the gems, and gems will allow you to purchase power-ups that allow you to either have a force field that lasts for 10 seconds or a sonic attack. I'm gonna go play the demo now. Oh, sweet, thanks, man. Yeah, the demo, in case you don't know, is available on both itch and as well as Steam. And so the game will be coming out for a lot of different things. Basically, iOS, Android, PC, of course, Steam, Xbox, and as I just announced on Wednesday, I got Nintendo's blessing, so this will also be coming out on the Nintendo Switch, which I just put the order in. Yeah, that's so broken down there. I just put the order in this morning, so hopefully my Switch dev kit will be coming in the next couple weeks, which I'm really excited about. So, and I'm just kind of buzzing through here, almost like a speed run. Which, by the way, I am going to do a speed run mode. Oh, here we go to the end of the level. So here you can replenish your health with the gems you collected. In this case, I'm full health, so I don't need it. Sonic attack, so I can buy one of those. I can buy up to 5, and shields. You can buy up to 5 of those as well. And the way those come into play is, oops. Oh, I'm out of gems. I get only 48. Is basically Z and C. So there's my shield, right? And then the sonic attack. You can zap the characters. So the lowly glommer and the sandworms, you can actually knock them out. But when you start making up to the 8 and to the onto the spaceship with the space cats and the red shirts, basically you don't take them out. You kind of like disable them for a brief moment, but they come back after you. Or like in this case. Oh shoot! Hit the wrong button. Or I'm out. Oh, I ran out. Oops. I forgot to buy the wrong. I bought the wrong thing. Yeah, I am. Josh, what's up, buddy? How's it going, man? So yeah, this is my game that I'm still developing. Triple Troubles, based on Tribbles from the classic Star Trek TV series, which I do have a license to do. For Tribbles and the Glommers, Glommers are genetically engineered by Klingons, the orange guys. They came from the animated Star Trek series. So I have rights to use Tribbles and Glommers and the food, which is quadritriticale. Yep. God, every time I see that lava there, I gotta fix that. I broke that this morning. I was redoing the lava stuff and kind of broke some stuff, so that's ugly. Obviously, the game is still in development. The release date for the game, by the way, since nobody asked, is going to be December 29th. And the significance of that, I know it sounds like an arbitrary date, but that is the first time, December 29th is the first time the episode, the Trouble with Tribbles Star Trek episode, aired on TV. Back in 1967, just to tell you how long ago it was. So anyways, I'll stop right there. So, there you go, in-game pause menu. There you go. I thought December 29th was just a placeholder. Yeah, no, originally it was going to be July. Oops, sorry. We were going to do a version in July that was going to coincide with Comic-Con, because I'm fortunate enough to actually have a table at San Diego Comic-Con, but as most of you probably know, San Diego Comic-Con got canceled. So my partner, the rights holders that I'm working with, they decided that, you know, since we're not pushing for that date, why not give yourself more time? It gives me more time to polish and to add more content, of course. And we'll just, and he suggested on the anniversary of the airing of the episode, which a quick look on IMDb, and I discovered it was December 29th. So, yep, that is why we chose that date, which I know there's a compelling argument that releasing any game in the Christmas holidays is a terrible idea, because you will get swept away by every other game out there. December event was canceled. No. Comic Con was in July. San Diego Comic Con would have been in July, which they canceled that. So that was when we decided to push the release date from July to December, right? So that just gives me a little more time to work on the game, which, as I mentioned, iOS, Android, PC, Steam, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. So there you go. And you know what? While I'm thinking of it, I'm going to go back in and fix those stupid underground bonus levels, because those are driving me nuts, man. Gem rooms. There you go. I'm going to fix this, because every time I see that, I cringe. So let me go ahead and clean this up. Rising lava. There we go. Fix this. There. That's one. Let's go back into two. Let's see. Rising lava. Yep. So for those of you Unity users out there, I am using Unity's 2D tile set stuff, which for the most part I like. There are a few headaches that I've had to sort of like wrap my head around. This is my 7th game I've made, but this is my first true 2D game. All my games before have been either true 3D or two-dimensional but done in 3D. So it's been sort of a fun experience to sort of like wrap my head around. Even my animation stuff too. I've been doing animation for a couple of decades, but virtually all my animation in the past has all been 3D. So it's been a fun adjustment to go into the 2D world and still try and make it work. Good. All right, so I got that fixed. So there you go. There is a quick rundown. So I hope that I think it's Lucini that was asking about some of the details there. So hopefully that makes clears stuff up on what the game is all about. Actually, I think I might duck out for a quick second, do a quick restroom break, come back, and maybe do a little more work on the lava. Unless you guys have more questions about the development. We were talking before about where I was in terms of prototype and where the end result was. So, I'm doing the animation, the programming, all that kind of stuff, but I have a very talented artist that helped me, that I've been working with for over a decade. So this is where I sent him, as a mock-up, saying, this is the general idea, and I just said, look, I want a 3-eyed alien cat, or I don't even know if I said 3-eyed. I just said I want an alien cat, excuse me, and then he came back, right, and did this. Back from playing the demo, awesome, I really liked it, and wishlisted. Sheeny, thank you so much, man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the wish list, and for the kind words as well, man. Appreciate that. Right now, there's about 17 or 18 modular sections in the underground area. So when you play it a few times, stuff starts to look familiar, but that's between now and December. I'm going to be making a lot more content. So by the time we get to production, actual release date, there'll be so many levels that every time you play, you won't feel any level of repetition. At least not much, I hope. But and I was also going to mention that I'm going to have a dedicated speedrun mode too. So there'll be one mode where it doesn't randomize. It's all locked in place. So everyone can compete with each other, right, on a level playing field to try and get the fastest time. So, but yeah, so if you want to ask me more questions about the development, that is cool. You can do that. Otherwise, I'll go back to trying to clean up some of the lava crap that I've been breaking, updating. Kind of a little of both, I guess. But for the moment, I'm going to duck out for a quick break, but I'll be back in just a second. All right? Hang tight, guys. All right, I'm back. So yeah, like I was saying, if you have any questions about the game dev, or just to give you a little more context, if you head over to scaryrobot.com, there you go. Here's my main page. Nintendo Switch. Okay, I'm screaming that one from the hilltop. Triple Trouble is coming to Nintendo Switch. But yeah, so these are my previous games. As I mentioned, this is game number 7, Triple Troubles. But yeah, if you have a question about any of those, feel free to give me a shout. Did you contact the people for the Triple license, or did they come to you? You know what? I've told the story a few times, but the odds of someone here hearing it before probably didn't happen, so I'm happy to share it with you again. So the reality is the latter. As I mentioned, I've been doing San Diego Comic-Con for, at this point, a decade now. Jeez. Going on a decade that I've had a table and been able to show my game. So what I traditionally do is whatever game I'm currently working on, I bring it to San Diego Comic-Con, less to promote the sales and more to actually treat it like a game development test area, right? So I have a potential 140,000 people walking by to test my game out. And dude, it is the best way to find out what works, right? Because if you're doing if you're demoing a game at GDC or PAX or any of those big places, the problem with that is that I use the analogy that you could be the hottest chick and you could be the hottest female in your entire town, but if you go to a beauty pageant, you might be a 7, right? So you could have the best game, right? You could have an amazing game that everyone's going to love, but when you're at PAX, you're surrounded by 100 other games that are just as good, if not better, right? So trying to break out in that kind of crowd is tough. But at San Diego Comic-Con, right, you're not fighting as much. There's a whole section of Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft, but they're on the opposite end, right? You're in an area that there's only a couple of people that are showing games off, right? So it's a lot more easier to get people to stop by. And I also set up little arcade cabinets, right? So the kids run up and start playing right away, right? And then adults jump in and that kind of stuff. Anyways, the point is that's what I've been doing for years. And at this point, I guess it's about 4 going on 5 years ago, I had a gentleman that came up and was watching, and I went to go tell him, if you stand there in my booth for long enough, I'll walk up and say, hey, can I show you my game? And he politely said, no, thank you. And he just said, look, if you know who I am, we can continue the conversation. What was my first game? So let's go Scary Robot. Bring this up here. Games. There you go. Poker with Bob was my first game, which is still available, by the way. A premium game, because back then, a decade ago, there was no such thing as in-app purchase or ads. So it's 99 cents. And this is Daniel, by the way, the same artist I've been working with all these years. This is Daniel's fantastic work. Even a decade ago, he was just knocking out of the park. So anyways, come to find out, this gentleman that I'm talking to is David Gerald, who actually wrote the original screenplay for The Trouble with Tribbles for Star Trek. And we started a conversation. He basically said, I like what I see here. I think you could make a game for me. And, it's been back and forth discussions trying to get them to, nail down an idea and working with his business partner. And, finally we came together. And basically, I had this super grandiose idea for a game. And the business partner, nice gentleman named Miles, he was like, no, I don't want that. I want, something simple. He goes, I want, something that you play, brief stints of. So we went back and forth, and I said, look, he wanted something almost like Pac-Man-esque. And I said, well, what about like something like Super Meat Boy, right, where you're going through tunnels and collecting food? And he goes, okay, I like that. So that was your inspiration for how the game came to where it was, but that was how I actually got access to it. And the beauty of it is, so they have a company called Tribble Toys, and they sell the Tribbles at conventions. And they are the ones that obviously have the relationship with CBS. So I partner with them. They partner with CBS, and basically that means that I never deal directly with CBS. They buffer it, right? So I send my stuff to them. They talk to CBS. It goes back to him, comes back to me, and he lets me know if there's stuff that I need to address or not address. So that is a long-winded way of explaining how I got rights to it. So in this case, it literally was sort of a case of being in the right place at the right time. Since then, I've been able to use that, and I've reached out and gone to a licensing convention here in Las Vegas, and I've actually secured another intellectual property, which I have not publicly talked about yet, but I will sometime, hopefully in the not too distant future. Looking forward to sharing that one with you guys as well. But that one was one where I went up and actually pursued it and was able to get it. It helped that I was able to walk up and say, hey, I'm making the world's first triples video game right now. I'd like to talk to you about, your IP. So that helps, But that's it. And just keep in mind that, because I was able to secure these rights, that doesn't mean that you can't make a game without using a famous intellectual property. Obviously, you don't want to do anything that's out there now, but there's plenty of stuff that's out there that's public domain. One of my earlier games, which I made quite honestly, is sort of like a joke for my friends, called Save the Titanic, right? I slapped it together in 5.5 weeks 8 years ago, which, by the way, happy anniversary for anyone that's ever played Save the Titanic. According to Facebook, I submitted Save the Titanic to the App Store, the App Store 8 years ago today. And it's been out there all that time. And that's a perfect example of a game that I need to redo, which I'll probably do next month, I think. I may go back and revisit it and clean it up, but I have to rebuild the whole game because it was written in Unity script, which Unity no longer supports. So I have to rewrite the entire game with C# and redo the whole thing. And it was also 8 years ago, which means that the programming sucks because I was still early days then and really didn't know what I was doing. But the point is that the game has gotten downloaded over, at this point, I think 6 million downloads, but I think I'm closer to 7 now. I haven't updated this, but it still gets tons of downloads every day. And it's just a combination of the simple look and also the name, right? And obviously, Titanic at this point is, public domain kind of concept. So you can still make a game with a famous name, right? Just as long as it's public domain, and you don't have to worry about actually securing rights. But if you're going to do something like this, which is from Star Trek, then you absolutely have to secure rights. So there you go. Does that answer the question? Kind of a very circuitous kind of fashion there. But yeah, no, it's a totally good question, though. I mean, it's a very, very good question. In the absolute situation where I just happen to be at the right place at the right time. Sorry about that. I kind of went off on a tangent. Gee, that never happens for me. Sorry. But, yep, that is the case. But I do think those conventions are a great way, outside of non-conventional gaming conventions, comic book conventions, I think are a much better way to demo a game and get more feedback. Because I've never exhibited at GDC. I've never exhibited at PAX, because you got to be really big at that point, right? Or really famous to have much of a chance, And it just you're fighting with so much content, right? But and as I said, I use conventions not really for promotion, but for game testing, So there you go. All right, so should I actually go back and try and be a little more productive here? I was working on cleaning up the levels. Got to figure out exactly where I left off here. Specifically in the jungle. Oh, no, sorry. No, not jungle. Canyon. Come on, dude. Get it right. All right. So, yeah, we got that working. All right, so did I need to create? I think I did. I have to create another one. I'm pretty sure I did. Which is my favorite? Oh boy, that's a loaded question. I don't know. You know what? It's sort of like parents and their children, right? I love pretty much all of them for different reasons, right? Every game I've made has a special story to it, or some quirk or connection to it, So, generally speaking, I mean, whatever game I'm currently working on usually is my favorite, just because you got to stay positive on the game you're working on, and you got to believe in it, because if you don't, it's gonna just go down the crapper. So if you ask me this question right now, absolutely my answer would be Triple Troubles. It's my first game that it uses a licensed IP, right, with a built-in user base. It's going to be my first game that's going to be cross-platform. all my previous games were all just mobile only. So this one is kind of exciting in the fact that we're going into a different space, you know. Oh, sweet. Shoot. Okay. Sorry. I just had an email on, remember I was hinting about the second project? I just got an email about that. So, okay. That was good news for the most part. Okay, good. Sorry, totally sidetracked, but I was waiting on that one. Okay, that put a smile on my face. But that's kind of unfair. I mean, Triple Troubles has the best animation, etc. If you were to exclude it, well, you know what? I don't know if I would agree with that. Okay, I mean, because shoot, I don't know if I have a way of playing Poke with Bob on the PC, but you know what? Here, I'll bring up a video. Let's go this way. Let me find it first. Oh, let's YouTube. So my very first game, Poke with Bob, actually has 7.5 minutes worth of real-time 3D animation, right? So if you want to talk about just for animation, I'm really proud of Bob, you know, because it was my very first game, right? And, you know, it ran 30 frames a second on an iPhone 1 all those years ago. So I'm scrolling down. Maybe if I can get back down here. Getting closer. Maybe. Oh, it's not there. Okay, I have to come at it this way. It's rigged. Bob knows every card you have. You know, it's funny you mention that because most people complain that Bob doesn't play well enough, right? But let's see. Let's skip ahead here. There you go.
Ah, the iPhone. So many uses. I can use it to call my friends. I can use it to surf the World Wide Web. Or I can use it to kick your ass.
So this is a decade ago. You gotta remember the context here. This is basically what poker games looked like 10 years ago. And that's basically the gameplay right there.
Ante-up. I'll bet 25.
Sound like Joe for Family Guy. It's actually the
I'll
same.
raise you 5.
That's Ed. That's Ed
called?
Mace. That's the same guy that's still doing the
What you need?
voices for my guy.
you want?
Ed is my go-to guy, man.
I'll
I
take
use
3.
him all the time. So he is the voice of the captain in my
You
Triple
will.
Troubles game. How do you
Raise
compare 2D
25.
versus 3D? That's a good question, isn't it?
Call.
But
Okay, let's see him.
you know, I mean,
You've
and it's funny
got
because
me the
people got
card.
freaked out. If you look, he only has 3
And I've
fingers,
got 2
right?
pairs.
And I did
It's
that
your
because
guess.
I didn't know if an iPhone,
Raise 25.
could support
Call.
all
And
this
a moment of
ambitious
truth.
kind of animation that I was planning on
Got
doing.
3
So I
of
figured
mine.
one way to do it was
And
kind of
I've
like the
got a
old,
pair.
Warner Brothers used to do.
Oh.
Sometimes they would just cut it down to 3 fingers because it was less to animate, right? But so I was, so people get freaked out by that. But Ed can narrate anything and it would still sound epic. That is so true, man. That is so true. And I just stumbled across him a decade ago and I keep coming back to him every time. But I didn't even know, but now you can't unsee it. So, so that's what I'm talking about. I mean, if it's, yeah. Oh, so I'll tell you the context too, because once again, you're saying, how do I come across this stuff, right? That you put in there. It doesn't, I would love to say it does, but I was so freaking out over just trying to see if I could make a game that I was just trying to get it out the door, that I wasn't thinking that robust. But no, to be honest, I haven't done any Easter eggs in any of my games yet. I say yet. I have not done Easter eggs, mainly because by the time I'm getting close to release, I've been working on it so long and so hard that I'm just trying to get it out the door. But so for Bob, the whole thing was I basically turned to Ed and I said, look, Bob is basically if Ash from Evil Dead and Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood, had a love child, that would be Bob, right? And that's the voice I want, and that's when he kind of came at it. And what's funny is because originally I was going to go a lot simpler with the animation, but he did such an amazing performance. That's when I reached out and found Daniel, and I said, hey, I need a character. And I gave him some reference. Does Bob have voice lines? Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's tons. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, it's 7.5 minutes worth of animation, right? Do we have lines? Oh, jeez, there are so many good ones. He'll taunt you, right? If you quit a hand, he'll say something like "run for the hills" or "ha, wuss," right? Or "smart move." Let's see if we go P. Let's see if I can find something good here. Poker iPhone audio. Let's go slots. Oops. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Yeah, this is my first game, so my folder structure is even worse than it was than it is now. Let's see if I can find. I don't even know where it is. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let's go to open that file location. There we go. Resources, audio. God, I just put everything in the same folder? I did. I didn't break it up at all. So everything is in here. Let's see. Oh, here. Okay, so here we go. And I did them as OGs because the game engine I used originally liked OGs more than waves or MP3s.
I could have been a contender.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Open with do this. There you go.
I remember the first time I played poker as well.
That's one of the things he says when he beats you, right? That's a full-on taunt, right? You know, he's just so yeah. And like if you beat him on one of the levels, let's see, we'll do this one. How about this? If you beat him, this is one of his reactions.
I will reboot this stupid thing.
So he threatened to reboot your device. He sounds Italian. That's interesting. I've never heard that one before. Huh. So, but I mean, so yeah, so I guess to circle back to your original question, you know, I mean, Tribbles is so much fun, right? Because it's just, you know, but Volley Village was my first online multiplayer cross-platform game. So that was exciting stuff. Actually, a self-aware AI. You know what? I'll tell you the funny story about that. Not really. In terms of how he plays, so it's funny because I don't play I don't play Texas Hold'em, right? I mean, I could play fundamentally, but I'm terrible, so I can't make a Texas Hold'em game. I've been playing 5-card draw since I was old enough to hold a card up in the air, right? So I made a 5-card draw game, so I know how to play it. But it's interesting when you think about it. It's like someone can say that, but they go, great, hand them a note, you know, a piece of paper and a pencil and say, great, write down all your rules on how to play, right? And then it gets complicated because then you have tons of if then else. I couldn't figure out off the top of my head how to create that AI. So this is terrible. What I ended up doing was, and this is back in 2008, there was a ton of online flash poker games, right? Usually had like women that would take their clothes off, right? You know, but you know, I had to convince a wife that it was less about that and more about what I did was I played these flash games and I documented every hand that I played. I wrote down every hand and how the computer played. And I made a giant spreadsheet, right? Oh, you remember that one? There was a few of them, but there was one, I can't remember. This is a decade ago. But there's one I kept coming back to in particular. You know, but of course, I heard about that. Never played it myself, of course. But, you know, never heard of those. But I ended up playing for like an extended weekend. And by the time I was done, and I just played for hours and hours and hours and documented every hand. And by the time I was done, I had this really robust spreadsheet that I was able to sort of reverse engineer and come up with, okay, what do you do statistically if you have 3 of a kind and he draws, 1 or 2 cards, right? And he bets a certain way, So I was able to sort of structure that, And then, so I set up a list of rules and then started playing the game like crazy. And then sort of had to adjust and realize, okay, he's playing too well here or not well enough here, and then sort of tweak those variances, right? And it's a randomization, right? He has, in this case, 80% of the time he's going to raise you, 15% of the time he's going to call, and then 5% he'll fold, right? So, I steer those as weighted randomism, right? Weighted randomism based on that spreadsheet that I worked out. So Bob is actually an AI from a... yeah, pretty much. He is the love child of strip poker flash games. That is sad but true. Because, I had not made a game before too, right? So I'm in the process of learning how to write a game while also trying to figure out AI logic. I dabbled on and off over the years, but I had really never done anything this involved. So for me, it was 2 years of nights and weekends just trying to see if I could even make it happen. Bye-bye did a follow. Bye-bye, thank you so much for the follow there. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Can't wait for Poker with Bob 2, not safe for work version. No. I had ideas on how to expand it, but to be honest, I hate to say it, but casino games are not really that profitable. I'm happy to say that Bob still has a few sales even after all these years. I did do an update for Bob. And it's funny because what happened was, as I said, most of my early games were all done in Unity script, right? And, excuse me, when something would change, like Apple says all games have to be 64-bit, and if you don't update your game, we'll pull it off the store until you update it, right? And I have several of my games that have been yanked off the store for that very reason. And of course, I don't go back because they don't really make that much revenue. And I would have to redo the entire game. That's a lot of work for no money. But Bob, I was getting a lot of emails. I was getting like to the point where it's an email a day, right? Saying, hey, I bought Bob years ago and it's broken now. What the hell, right? What's funny though is these people, some of them would become irate, right? They were upset. It's like, I paid for this game 7 years ago and it doesn't work now. It's like, you paid 99 cents. You had 7 years worth of entertainment for 99 cents and you're upset, But that is true. Yeah, fandom's still going strong. And there is a diehard group of people out there that really love playing Bob. So I just finally, relented, and I went back and I rewrote Bob from scratch, right? Redoing everything and updating it. And so that's why Bob is available now. And I got to go back and do that for Titanic, because that one, it's been yanked off of the Apple Store for quite a while now. And even though it's no longer even available, it still gets like a couple dozen downloads a day, which means that the only people that can download it are people that have gotten it before. So there's still people that are downloading it in the hopes that it's like an updated version. Sequels to the games you made. Great question. Short answer, no. And the key thing is usually because I've painted myself in a corner because the game is pretty much complete as is in terms of, I'll give you one example. If you come back, I don't know if I have it up. I'll just bring it back up. So I made one game called Tic-Tac-Toe, right? Which is just a childhood memory. They had a live chicken in glass case at Knott's Berry Farm when I was a little kid, and you put a quarter in and you played tic-tac-toe against a live chicken, right? So I just put together this game, and once again, Daniel did the art. I did the animation. And then once again, we can talk about the animation as well. There's some fun animation in this one, So, but this is a very finite kind of game. Could not... I missed that, Lucini. Going to bed now. Good night. See you next time. Lucini, thanks for coming out and hanging out again, buddy. Appreciate you, and I appreciate all the questions, man. Appreciate the conversation. Have yourself a fantastic weekend, and I will see you on Monday if you can make it around. But, yeah, so, I don't know what I could do for this one, right? I mean, it's such a simple, finite concept, right? And that's probably one of the problems with my early game development was that it was kind of small, right? There's nowhere to really expand it. It was because it was such early days. Back then, you could just make a fun game and people would download the crap out of it. You can make a really, really fun game now and it gets buried and never seen again. So, so it's a situation where I could expand, like my last game, Volley Village. I could easily expand the content, right? New content, new islands, new graphics, and that kind of stuff. But it just doesn't have the user base, right? It's a free to play game, and unless you're spending a ton of money, it's really hard to make a free to play game that's profitable now. That one, and then like the Tribble game, I think could expand in sequels. And if it does well, then absolutely, I have to do a sequel. It's Tribbles, right? So, and part of it too is because I work on these games for so long. Once you get out the door, the last thing you want to do is like revisit it, right? Because it's such, I love doing it, but it is a heck of a workout, man. So by the time you finish it, you really kind of want to just be done with it for a while, So there you go. There's a long-winded answer there. I got to learn how to, I should have just stuck with the short answer no and just finished right there, instead of just rambling on. Sorry about that. All right. So I guess, you know what? We're at the 4 o'clock mark, and I think I'm at a pretty good point here. I got a little bit of work done. A lot of chatting, but I enjoyed that, man. So, and I hope I answered some questions there. I know you guys were kind of curious about certain things, but I do appreciate that, man. So if you have specific things you want to ask, oh, good, okay. I'm glad long-winded is actually beneficial sometimes. So thank you. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do that more often. I don't know if I should just formally say, hey, if you have questions about what I'm working on. I think I've mentioned it before a long time ago, but normally I just kind of work. But yeah, you know what? I got a couple of emails that I got to really deal with. Really love knowing Bob is actually Strip Poker inspired AI. That might have been an overshare. I might have been better off keeping that one to myself, but but yeah, that is true. Because I knew it in my head, but I didn't know how to translate it into a spreadsheet, without just randomly throwing in numbers endlessly. So that is true. And I don't see a problem with that. I think, a lot of stuff gets reverse engineered, right? And I mean, I have no qualms with that, but yeah, it is sort of a dubious history. Oh man. All right. But Strip Poker AI is top notch. Yeah, of course they want to torture you, right? It's kind of like she's gonna take off the shirt. Oh no, she's not. She's putting the pants back on now. Wrong direction. I never played those as a kid on the Commodore 64. A lot. Never. The Amiga. I gotta like practice my my impressions, I guess, right, to do them right. But yeah, thanks, man. Ricky, you have yourself a fantastic weekend, and that goes for everyone else out there. Bye. Thank you so much for the follow, as well as everyone else that gave the follows. Thank you so much. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. I will be back on Monday. Yeah, in the meantime too, look on the page if you guys want to chat with me. Please feel free to join my Discord channel. I'm always hanging out over there. I'm always accessible, and probably not as long-winded if I'm typing. So if you want a shorter answer, that's the place to hit me up. But yeah, definitely hit me up on Discord. And have yourselves a fantastic weekend. I'll be back on Monday starting at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is my local time and what it is for you. So yeah, 2 to 4, and that's pretty much my run. And yeah, I'm going to keep plugging away, but I'll have more stuff on Monday. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and I hope to see you guys next week. Until then, you guys take care, all right? Adios.